Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I am Stevie B with some breaking news for you, so let's get started with some sips to get this one started off right as we get logged in. Guys, today is July 1st, 2023. It is 6:50 a.m. Central Standard Time. I am just outside of Cape Corinth on planet Calypso in Entropia universe, and I've been taking part in Summer Migration 2023. Been hunting me some Longtooth, working on that codex, trying to get all the way to rank 25. So last night before I headed to work at about approximately 8:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, I got a message from a buddy of mine via text, and he said, "You're not going to believe this. There are summer Strongboxes dropping in the loot right now from Longtooth and from Eomon." And I said, "What? Hold up, back up." They said that summer Strongboxes were phased out 2 years ago. I jumped on my computer right before work. I only had a few minutes. Come on. I hate it when it does that. It sticks sometimes. And sure enough, I logged in. I had a couple minutes before work, and they were dropping. I managed to get 3 of them before work. I didn't have much time. I only had a couple of minutes, but I was able to loot 3 in a matter of minutes, almost back to back. And this is a huge, huge deal. I'm surprised Mindark did not do this sooner. Let's see if we can loot one live for you guys. So let me explain why this is such a big deal and why this is breaking news. I want to get this out to you guys because there's a lot of people that might not be doing migration because we were told there was not going to be summer Strongboxes. This is a total game changer. This means that I'm not just going to be grinding migration through rank 25 codex. I might start doing some repeats on codex once I get through rank 25. So let me explain why this is such a big deal. If I can manage to loot one, what you're going to see is in the top left hand corner, when I loot one, it'll say Summer Strongbox 0.0000 ped. And if you'll notice, when I get loot, it has a ped value attached to it. So let's look at what I loot from this creature. So shrapnel 1.61 ped. Now, why are the summer Strongboxes such a big deal? It's the way they affect the loot pool. Having that 0 ped TT value means that theoretically they can drop from any looting event. You don't have to reach a certain threshold in order to be able to loot them. They're not going to necessarily mess with your returns as the same way as trying to loot an item like, I don't know, a piece of armor would. So yesterday I did something I've never done before. I got a double drop. See, and here we go. These are the 3 that I looted yesterday. So see the value up here at 0.000 ped? See how it's just all zeroed out? So yesterday I actually got a double drop on a global that I got. I got a set of full TT male Marshall Shin Guards and a full TT set of female Marshall Shin Guards limited. Both limited, both full TT, both Marshall Shin Guards, 1 male, 1 female. I got them both in the same global. So I got a whole bunch of shrapnel, and then I got 1 of each, which was weird. I've never had a double drop like that. I mean, I've got armor in my loot before, but I've never had a drop where it gave me, you know, 1 of each, or a male and a female. And guys, just look how many green dots are here. This is how big of a deal just having these Strongboxes in the loot pool is. So why is it such a big deal? Well, A, not only is it the way it affects the loot pool, having that 0.00 TT value, meaning that theoretically it can drop from any looting event. It doesn't have to reach a certain threshold. Versus like these Marshall Shin Guards, they've got a TT value of 55 ped each. So I would have had to hit over 55 ped in order to be able to get 1. In order to get 2, that meant that that global I hit had to be over 110 ped. Not so with these boxes having 0 TT value. This is why we like events that have tokens, because tokens also have 0 TT value, meaning theoretically they can drop from any looting event. But on top of that, these boxes have that sweet, sweet markup. So if we're getting these boxes, and let's say they have a value of 1 ped apiece, or 1.5 ped, or 2 ped, it's essentially all markup. So the question is, how big of a stack can you get during the event? Now, this is true not just with migration, but with mayhem also. You want to get as big of a stack as you can, loot as many as possible, because again, we know we're going to lose TT value over the course of the event. It's not when, it's if. I'm sorry, back up. It's when, not if, right? We know we're going to lose TT value because Mindark has to make money. Why does Mindark have to make money? They have to be able to pay the bills. If they can't pay the electric bill, then the electrical service gets cut off, the servers go down, the game stops existing. So Mindark has to take some of that money from us, some of that TT value from us, in order for them to be able to pay those bills. Whenever they pay those bills, they're able to keep the game functioning. Bada bing, bada boom, we're able to enjoy the game that we know and love. So in order to make up that loss, we have to rely on that markup. Well, if I'm just loading shrapnel over and over, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for me to be able to make up that loss. However, if I'm able to get together a stack of, let's say, 1,000 Strongboxes, and let's say the markup on those things is a pet apiece, then that is 1,000 pet of markup. That is a lot of markup, and that goes a long way toward offsetting those costs. I can offset quite a lot of losses. So if I'm expecting a 95% return, and I loot 1,000 boxes with a pet apiece of markup, that's 1,000 pet of markup. You can see where this is going. I'm able to spend somewhere in the area of 20,000 ped before I'm going to have that kind of an expected loss. So these being the numbers that we're working with, you can get a lot of cycling done. Notice that everybody is private messaging me saying that summer boxes are dropping as I'm making the video about it. So you can get a lot of cycling done, and you can put up with quite a few TT losses in order to get a big old stack of boxes. And this is why people love Mayhem. Again, Mindark doesn't care about the markup. They don't care about the markup on the Mayhem tokens. They don't care about the markup on the boxes. They care about how much we're cycling, how much of that TT value that we're putting through the game, because they're going to get a small percentage of it, right? And rightfully so. We're fine with that. But by having these items in the loot pool, and by us being able to stack them as quickly as possible, then we're able to take that markup and make up those losses and hopefully get us close to even, if not to even, and hopefully into that sweet theoretical profit margin that a lot of people strive to get to, that most people strive to get to. Because why do we play this game? It is a real cash economy game. So this is a complete game changer. Prior to last night at 8:45, I was just really lucky that my returns had held out this long. I started at rank 14.5, and I've gotten all the way to rank 19.43, and I was like, you know what, I'll get to rank 25, and I'll kill it, and I'll just go do something else at that point. Because at that point, it doesn't make a lot of sense to continue cycling, to continue taking the risk on those losses, whenever there really wasn't anything worth stacking in the loot pool. Now, I mean, I did get a few ELM weapons here and there, nothing to really brag about. I think I've got like 6 so far. I got 1 Unreal token, and I got those from the level 4s at Chugs. If I was going for the Unreal tokens only, I would pretty much be at Chugs because I can get so many more kills per hour on the level 4s. So I actually might go to Chugs only. I'm pretty sure that the boxes will drop a little bit better from the young level 12s than they will from the level 4s at Chugs. I don't know why it seems to be that way. It just seems to be that way. Or at least it was the last time we had boxes in the loot pool. But crap, that was 2 years ago. So this is the whole reason that I boycotted the event last year, was because they took the boxes out of the loot pool. And without those boxes, without that markup, it made the event practically unplayable. This year it's been playable because of the fact that we do have the Unreal tokens. Codex has helped out tremendously in making it playable. Honestly, if it was just the Unreal tokens and no Codex, the event would still be unplayable. However, with the fact that we have both Unreal tokens and the Codex to go with it, that is what currently makes it playable. So that was kind of why I was going through, hoping to get through all 25 ranks before something really went sideways on me. And I was doing pretty good with that. But then last night, to find out that the boxes are back was like, wow. Now, there were a lot of people last night that they were saying, you know, is it a bug? Is it a glitch? And at first, I wasn't really sure. Now, the reason being is it did not seem like a glitch because of the fact that this migration started on the 21st of June. And you're talking about these boxes didn't start dropping until the evening of the 30th. So it did not seem like a glitch. It seemed fairly intentional. However, what was weird is they started dropping at 8:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, which meant that Mindark was pretty much already gone for the weekend. They'd already kind of left the offices and locked up, and it was weird that they would just randomly start dropping without an announcement from Mindark, without them telling us they were going to be bringing them back, and to do it at such an odd time when everybody shouldn't be in the offices. So at first there was speculation of, is this even intentional, or is this just a screw-up? And it turns out that, lucky for us, it is not a screw-up. It is intentional. I can verify that it is indeed intentional. It was meant to happen. Mindark did bring him back, and they've even said that early next week there will be an official announcement about it on the forum, and an official announcement on the website saying that indeed loot boxes are back, the summer boxes specifically. So that's great. I think it's kind of weird that they just kind of did it, that there was no warning, it just started happening, and then they let us speculate for a couple of hours about whether or not it was intentional or a temporary bug or whatever. But it's not a bug, it's a feature. So it is intentional. They did do it on purpose. Why they didn't tell us about it, I don't know. Why they waited until 9 days into the event, I don't know. But I think what they've figured out is that my boycott last year had a point to it. If you create an event where there is no markup, there is a small contingency of players that are going to gamble endlessly on the biggest mobs in game and take a chance on going absolutely broke on that 1 in a billion shot at mod shadow armor. There are a very, very small number of people who will do that. But if you really want the majority of the player base to play in your event, if you want the majority of the player base to cycle endlessly and not just get through those 25 ranks of codex, but to keep going and start doing repeats and just keep banging it out and cycle as much as they possibly can, then there has to be markup. If there's not markup, we have no incentive to participate in the event. And I think that after 9 days, they finally were smart enough to look at the numbers and say, you know what? Everybody's right. Without the markup, without the boxes, we're just not getting the kind of migration results that we want. Last year, they had a lot of people that were doing it anyway, and I think this year the numbers were just a lot lower because a lot of the people last year that did drain their ped card aren't there this year. Their ped card was drained last year. They went after that mod shadow without any markup in the loot pool, and it did them in. And they're probably still trying to recover from that. So because of that, in order to get us to cycle more, they brought back the boxes. Now, I can't tell you what kind of ring is going to be in it yet. I don't have that information. All I can tell you is that it is not an accident. It is definitely by design. We know that. We know it's going to be here for the rest of the event, and that is a very, very good thing. I would assume that right now, if you were to start opening these boxes, what you would get is the Summer 2020 ring, the one that has been in what few summer boxes have been left in game up to this point. However, I would imagine that there is either a new ring that will start dropping very, very soon once the official announcement is made. It could start dropping today. It could already be in the code, and they just haven't told us that there's a new ring. They haven't told us any of the features of it yet, but it may already be discovered. In fact, let's check the Hoff board, and let's see if anybody's discovered a new ring. Let's see if the Summer 2023 ring. Nope, no new ring has been discovered. So it could just be that there's no new ring yet in the loot pool, but one is coming. They could just leave the old ring in the loot pool. We don't know yet. That information is still to be found out. But I'm sure we will be finding that out in very short order. So this is great news for those people who were already doing migration and who maybe had the same thought process that I did. Let's get through rank 25 and then let's call it good. This is extremely good news for people who are doing migration and we're just hoping to get more than just skills out of it. And this is very good for a lot of players who maybe were sitting migration out, not participating because the markup just wasn't there. Well, now the markup is there. Now the event is worth doing. So yeah, now go for it. Everybody should be getting their pew-pews out. Everybody should be on Planet Calypso banging out Longtooth, bare minimum, codex on Longtooth. Maybe not Eomon. I understand those are really big. I can't even take them down yet. But if you are playing Entropia Universe during Migration 2023, there is now officially no reason not to be on Planet Calypso. And, you know, you can get into conspiracy theories all day long about maybe the planet partners. We're seeing a little bit too much action from people who go after that markup. Maybe with all the new stuff they've got going on Cyrene and Arcadia Moon and Next Island, maybe Mindark was feeling that their migration event just wasn't getting enough attention from the player base, and they wanted a reason for people to come back home. I don't know, but what I can tell you is there's a lot of people that were not on Planet Calypso last night that are here this morning. There are a lot of people that were not grinding out migration yesterday that are going to be grinding it out today. So guys, if you haven't figured it out by now, Mindark has to take part of the money that we cycle in order to pay the bills. That's the only way to pay the electric bill. It's the only way to keep the servers up and keep the game going. That means we are going to get back less than we put out there. That's just going to happen. That is nature of the beast. You have to be going for that markup. And previously this was an event with some really, really good skill rewards from Codex, but very little markup. Now this is an event where not only can we go after the summer boxes, we can also be getting those sweet ELM weapons that have that great markup, and we can be getting those sweet Unreal tokens that have that great markup. So all around, I cannot believe they finally did it. I can't believe they didn't do it sooner. I think the stupidest thing they ever did was canceling Summer Mayhem and simultaneously saying we're taking boxes out of the loot pool. I could understand canceling Summer Mayhem and having migration instead. I could understand that because people naturally would go for Mayhem over migration because, again, Mayhem was where the markup was. Mayhem had the tokens. Mayhem had the boxes. However, they wanted a way to reduce player liabilities. They wanted a way to drain people's pet cards. I get that. What I do not get is simultaneously taking the thing that makes people want to spend their money and want to grind endlessly and cycle endlessly, the Strongboxes, out of the loot pool. That made no sense. In fact, I just told somebody 2 days ago, I said they're going to see the numbers from this migration and last year's migration, and they're going to see the disparity between the two, and I bet you that next year during migration we have summer Strongboxes. Well, my prediction was right, but it's not next year. It's right here, right now, happening live as we speak. So that is great news. I am so happy to be able to report that to you guys. It now makes this worth not just doing, but essentially doing endlessly. So I hadn't planned on doing that repeat. I might bang out the first 2 or 3 repeats of Codex now. I'm definitely not going to stop at rank 25. I'm going to keep going, probably most definitely through the first repeat, maybe the second, and possibly the third. I would like to get through 5 or 6 repeats, ideally, if time permits. I just don't know if time is going to permit. Because of what I have going on with work and real life, I just might simply not have enough hours to be able to put in. I wish this would have happened earlier in the event, as I've already put in many, many, many hours into this event. However, I'm glad that it happened now. Even if it is, 9 days into the event, better for it to happen 9 days into the event than to not happen at all. So guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. Sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest. Head over to earnped.com because when you earn, we earn. That is by far the best way you guys can help support us. Simply use the links on earnped.com to go to hideout.tv. Hideout will automatically add us as a redemption option for your hideout points. No additional effort needed on your behalf. Guys, please hit all 3 of those buttons that us YouTubers tell you about. The subscribe button and the bell icon. That way you stay up to date on all of the latest news, all of the latest content that we put out for you guys. And guys, please hit that like button on every single video that we post because there's always a hater hitting that dislike button and it helps us combat that. But even more importantly, what it does is whenever you guys hit those 3 buttons, it tells YouTube to give us more exposure for our videos, to put our videos in front of more people that play PC games and MMOs and real cash economy games. And when you do, a lot of times it's the very first time somebody's ever heard of Entropia. And they start watching the videos, they start watching the channel, they start learning about the game. Next thing you know, they start playing. Now they're part of the community, now they're part of the economy. They may be a society mate, a friend someday. They may even buy something off you off auction. Whoa, 251 peg global, very nice. All because you hit those buttons to help support us. All because you helped us get that reach. So it means a ton, not just to us. You're not just making an impact for us. You're not just making an impact for the channel and for EarnPed and for me. You're making an impact on the game, on the community, and on the economy. So it is making a difference. We get more and more of these messages every single day. So guys, obviously you can tell I'm super excited. This is a huge deal, and I hope it means that you guys are able to not only enjoy migration, but enjoy migration even more than you already were, or start enjoying it if you were sitting this one out because of the lack of markup. So sip, sip, smack, smack. We'll be back with more for you later this week. Till then, take care, Stevies.